Sarah McBride. Why? What'd she do? Rep. Sarah McBride, Congress's first openly trans member, calls for a bigger tent among Democrats on trans issues, saying any demand that people be all in is counterproductive. Okay, I'm getting like a screenshot of a screenshot of a screenshot here. Sarah McBride and her staff have spoken to her Democratic colleagues on the topic, notice is learned. The Delaware Congresswoman has cautioned Democrats that the tenor and tone of their comments on either trans rights or questioning them might inflame and splinter factions instead of being productive. We need to create more space in our tent. If, for instance, we want to have a majoritarian coalition, not just electorally, but specifically on grounds around trans rights, that by necessity is going to have to include people who have a range of thoughts. A binary choice between being all on or all off is not constructive for anyone. It impedes the very needed path towards winning electorally, winning hearts and minds, and winning progress. Okay, wait, hold on. What is the context to this? Because I agree with what she's saying in the abstract, but very rarely is this in the abstract. We do, in fact, live in a society. What is the context here? What group are we talking about? Specifically when it comes to athletics, to avoid causing intra-party strife. I do think I understand as a trans person how to meet people who aren't trans where they are and find commonality with people, she said. Part of that is creating room for a lack of understanding, for disagreement, for grace, and therefore room for growth. Shortly after Election Day, some Democratic members of Congress, like Reps. Seth Moten and Tom Suozzi, called for the Democratic Party to reconsider its support for trans participation in sports. The Democrats have to stop pandering to the far left. I don't want to discriminate against anybody, but I don't think biological boys should be playing in girls' sports. Democrats aren't saying that, and they should be. So the problem with this is that she's wrong and they're all wrong. It is an all or nothing thing. It is. What's the alternative? Republicans aren't playing honestly. Republicans don't want to ban trans people from participating in sports. Republicans want trans people eradicated. So when Republicans say biological boys are playing with our biological girls, etc., that's just a wedge for them to get in further on the trans issue. It goes further than that. It's trans women should be to death in male prisons. It's actually, if you're a trans woman and you want to be in women's spaces, you're a groomer because your body is different and you have a penis and etc. We all know how this goes. They always try to find a weakness, right? In a big wall of messaging, they always try to find the one over. And this is, and ultimately, right, like this is what we learned about gay people as well, which is that you have, okay, well, should it be legal to be gay? Okay, should it be legal to cross-dress? Okay, should it be legal for gay people to adopt? Okay, should it be legal for them to marry? You can't give up on any issue because the moment you raise a concern, the moment you go, well, like you open up a front and then the right gets to turn it into, well, the rational people who understand that while gay marriage might technically be legal, that doesn't mean it's okay for them to adopt children because a child needs a man and a woman to raise them, not just two men or whatever. Versus these degenerate lefties who think that it is okay for two men to raise a kid. They will always take that line. So you have to be a solid wall. Always. I mean, I disagree fundamentally, by the way, with the idea that there's any sense at all in the federal government making rulings on stuff like trans participation in sports when there's like 15 trans people in sports, you know? Like, there are more pedophiles in the Republican House of Representatives than there are trans women causing problems in the entire country for their athletic competence. Like, it literally, I'd stake those numbers up. I think that's a defensible position easily. It's not even close. You can start like orders of magnituding that if you want to. So no, I don't think this is true at all. And yeah, McBride has this bullshit, like, fake above it all position of, like, well, if we focus on the issues that matter, my friend, my beautiful, beautiful friend, okay? My beloved, listen carefully, okay? You are the issue that matters, motherfucker. You're the trans woman. You're the issue that matters. What we're facing right now is not a set of disconnected reactionary assaults, but a unified assault where they will find any position they can to justify everything they want to do. Like, you can't, there's no separating it from this. It's all connected. You can't give up on an issue. She's pro-Israel. She doesn't care about human life. Yeah, probably. I've said this a million times, and I'll say it again. You need to become as militantly in favor of good as they are militantly in favor of evil. For every iota of energy Republicans expend on lying about trans people with the intent of depriving them of their life and liberty, you need to be as energetic or more advocating against that, for good things, for life and happiness, for justice. You know, you can't just oh, well, the attacks on trans people are clearly a distraction from the fact that Republicans haven't had a good healthcare plan since the early 2000s. Dude, no one cares. No one cares. No one cares. If Republican voters gave a shit about that, why did they vote for Trump 3 times? Like, what? How does that? Clearly, that's not like a meaningful point to them. You have to fight people where they're at. And since Republicans are so good at creating the issue, they're so good at determining what the fight will be over, that's what you need to go at them for. You have to defend on that point. If a swordsman is stabbing you, you can't go like, well, I didn't really care about my shin anyway. I think that attack to the shin was really a distraction. And what really matters would be like a strike to my heart. You have to parry the strike to your shin as well. Bad analogy, that's called fainting and it happens. Yeah, but it wasn't a faint. You got stabbed. Her shin is bleeding. See, that's her line. This is a blatant attempt from far right-wing extremists to distract from the fact they have no real solutions to what Americans are facing, she said. We should be focused on bringing down the cost of housing, healthcare, childcare, not manufacturing culture wars. Hey, quick question, by the way. Did this serve? Did you see people talking about this? Did this rally people? Did this energize the left? Did this like give trans people like a swell of support and motivation? Because all I see is Nancy Mace's ugly fucking face on my timeline. Because that bitch never shuts the fuck up. That's all I see. I don't see Sarah McBride, you know, like fucking Gorpcore edits or whatever. I don't see like, you know, you'll take my trans rights over my dead body, VHS tape, glowing eyes, Sarah McBride edits. I see people mostly dunking on Nancy Mace, but at least they talk about her. In the attention economy, which is where everything is now, by the way, it matters how much attention you can get. And the Democrats learn this, you can spend billions on ads, it won't matter. If nobody's talking about you, nobody's talking about you. You need to be the driver of attention. Ultimately, this is the reason why Bernie Sanders can't be our savior either. And it makes more sense that if I'm to use a narrative trope, he's the mentor figure who's laid low before his time, rather than the hero that saves. Because Bernie Sanders is, respectfully, and I love him, boring. Every speech of his is the same. Main character energy is what we need. We need aggressive driving of attention. Incredibly aggressive. I mean, we need people who can drive view time the way Trump does, because no one knows what the fuck that guy's going to say next. It's so pathetic. Saying she'll follow the rules because she was not elected to fight about bathrooms is avoiding the argument. I can't imagine, like, in an era like this where our civil rights are being eroded, especially trans people's civil rights, for the first thing to happen to you before you even get to the House of Representatives, before you even get to the Capitol building, is for Nancy Mace to be like, well, you're not going to use women's restrooms because you've got a penis. And, like, this is literally a segregationist argument. I mean, again, like, it'd be like the first black rep getting elected and racists are racist to him, and he's like, well, I didn't, get elected to argue about whether or not I'm a human being. I got elected to talk about, like, tax rates or some shit. I don't know. And then just ignored the issue. Like, come on, man. I guarantee you, you're a trans rep. People elected you, a lot of them, I imagine, because they were hoping that you'd be kind of an answer to this problem that we're facing, that you'd mean something.